Hello friends, welcome to Karen's Stamp Pad. My name is Karen Scott and I am a Stampin' Up independent demonstrator from Edmonton, Alberta in Canada. So welcome. It is Thursday the 24th, I believe, and at 4 o'clock. So welcome to my live. Today I want to show you some new products in the new catalog, as well as some products that are rolling over into, or have rolled over into, the new catalog, as well as a set that is retiring, and it is on this last chance list. And you have until June 30th to purchase it. And I personally think that it's a keeper, and I'm going to show you a wedding card, so a congratulations card for somebody. But I have also made some, and I think I showed this to you in a video a couple of weeks ago actually. So my daughter's getting married next month, and she wanted to do up her own invitations and have the Blackberry Bliss. She loves that color, and so she asked me to design a card, and this is what I came up with. And this is using the Soaring Swallows stamp set and dies. So the swallows and this the flower stems are in that, and that's the one that's retiring. So if you want to grab it, it is available until June 30th. So, and then it is gone. So I did check, and it's still on the list, so it's still available. And I think it's great for sympathy cards, for wedding cards, for anniversaries. The swallows, when they're done in white, look like doves, and so that's why I chose to use that. So as well as that, I am also using the Peaceful Moments sentiment on this one. So this was her wedding card, and then nothing on the outside, but then on the inside we did up the invitations. So there's that. And then this is the one that I'm going to show you today, except I'm going to do it in Blushing Bride. And I am using the let's see, I've got it here, the split card texture dies, and that's the background, as well as the Peaceful Moments sentiment. And I'm also using the Forever Fern, which has rolled over into the new catalog, for some of the background stamps and die cuts. So anyway, let's get started. So first of all, I've gone ahead and I've cut and die cut, as well as stamped what we're going to need. So first of all, your base is going to be, I've got Blushing Bride, and it is 8.5 by 11, cut at 4 1/4 and scored at 5.5. So it's going to open this way. And then you're going to need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock, and those are 4 by 5 1/4. So 2 of those. One is going to go on the inside. We're going to stamp that. And the one for the outside, which we're going to use the split textured dies. And so I have gone ahead and I've done 2 just to show you what both the dies look like. So this is the one that I used on the 2 cards. And this one, I thought, I wasn't sure, maybe we could use that on this card. So this is the second die in that set. I'm also using vellum. So I have a piece of vellum that is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this piece of vellum I put in behind and glued this on the die cut piece, just to kind of soften the color. So you've got the darker color on the border, and when you look through it, it's softer. It looked more wedding to me. I have stamped, like I said, from the Forever Fern stamp set and dies. I've stamped a couple of the greenery in pink, and I've die cut those out. I'm going to use those. I have some retired gold hoops, and so I thought I would use those. I have used some vellum and a piece of cardstock for stamping the sentiment on the front, and the Blushing Bride, as well as the vellum, just to, like I said, to soften it up. And here's my envelope, and then I have my swallows. So there's 2 of those, and I will put those together. What else? I've got some ribbon. I used ribbon on this card in the back, but then I've also got some of the silver mesh, and I thought, well, I'll play with it and I'll see when I put the card together whether or not I want to use that, or whether I'll go with the it's crinkled seam binding ribbon, and it's white. You can color it if you want to use your stamp pad or some of your blends. You can, and it takes the color really well. So if you wanted to add pop color instead of the white, you can color it with either of those 2 things. So, all right, let's go ahead and just start piecing this together. Now, I think I'm going to try this one, because I've already done the other ones with the other die cut. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just put all of this stuff aside and pull in my my sheet so that I don't mess up my desktop and put glue all over it, which I have a habit of doing. So, all right. So I'm going to take this. So what I've done with this is I have used the split textured die and cut that out. Then I ran it through an embossing folder just to give it some texture. And so other than, well, like I said, my daughter's getting married and we did up invitations. I need to cut this just a smidge. And so we did up her invitations, but then I'm part of a swap this month, and there we go, that fits better. And the theme was wedding cards, so it wasn't a wedding invitation, otherwise I would have done those exactly the same, but we're doing a wedding card, and that's why I decided to do something similar, but just instead of saying congratulations, the let's see, I'll pull it out and show you. Peaceful Moments has some beautiful sentiments in it. So I could have gone with congratulations because it's on there. These are the moments we look back we'll look back on with joy. Could have used that, but wishing you every happiness this special day will bring is the one that I chose. I love this sentiment stamp set. It's one of those ones that you just don't get rid of. And I'm so happy that it did roll over. Okay, so I'm just going, I'm putting little bit of glue on the outside. And actually I want some down here, just to hold that down. Take my piece of vellum. And adhere that. There we go. Okay. Now I am going to take that. Now I could pop it up, which would look really nice, but I think I'm just going to glue it down because I'm going to pop up my sentiments. So again, I'm going to go around and put some more glue just on the borders. Remember, you're going to see the glue if it seeps out onto the vellum. You'll see it underneath. So just be aware that flip that over. I've already got glue everywhere. On my fingers, on my desk, on my card. Okay, so we're just going to attach that like that. And then the first thing that I did was I brought in my tear and tape. And so you get a roll of tear and tape. This is a double-sided tape. And it is pretty sticky. So then I'm going to bring in my gold hoop and I'm going to place it right about there and glue this down with my tear and tape, or hold it down. Okay. There we go. Because I know at this point, this is going to be covered up with my sentiment, so I don't have to worry about that being seen. I'm going to bring in my two pieces that I have stamped and cut. And what I want to do with these is on the bottom, I'm going to put my liquid glue on the top portion because I'm going to set it here and it's going to go over top of the hoop. So I don't want it to have that kind of crease in the middle. So I'm going to put, as I use my take your pick tool, and I'm going to use mini dimensionals just on the top. And I'm going to use the liquid glue on the bottom. All right, so this one I want going over this way. And this one I'm going to put up here. Now I don't want it too high because I don't want it to interfere with the placement of my dove. So, all right. And you know what I forgot to do? So before this sets, I'm just going to lightly lift it up. I did cut, which I forgot to mention, some vellum pieces also with the Forever Fern, and just kind of adds a little bit to the back. So I've got a few pieces. I'm going to take this one and I am going to glue it on the bottom where I know that it's not going to be seen because it's going to be covered up. So it's a little long. I'm going to use my snips to take that bottom piece off. There we go. So, and I've already got dog hair in it too. Ha! That's what you get when you have golden retrievers. Hair everywhere. So in case you hadn't heard, you know, dog hair or dog fur is not only an accessory, but it is a condiment. So you get it in your food as well as on your clothes. There we go. So I've got that. Now I'm going to take my pieces as before and put it put it on. There we go. Good. All right. So helps when the stuck to the vellum. Okay, there we are. So now you can see it's just kind of a little bit softer. So what I want to do next is just put together my swallows. So there's different parts, and there's 2 different ones and all sorts of pieces, so you can just choose whichever one you want. And these 2 go together, so I'm going to put this wing in behind this one. And this one on top. Okay, I'm going to flip it over to dry because I'm going to pop it up with dimensionals. And so on the previous ones, now I'm missing a wing. Check my hands, check everything. And it is gone. Go figure. It was just here. I know it's probably stuck to something. Probably. Maybe I can't use this guy. He does come with another wing. And I can't seem to find it. So I could cut another one or not. And then I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back, just my mini dimensionals. So I'm going to pull in one that has 2 wings. And turn this one over, and we are going to put these, let's see, I'm going to put this one up here. Now I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use that. So make sure the wings are in, otherwise you're going to have a problem putting it in the envelope. I don't want them to go up too high. There we go. Okay, so then what I've done is I have taken my cut pieces, and I didn't tell you this one, I mean, you can use any die cut that you like or a punch to punch it out. But what I've done is there's one set that I've had since I first signed up with Stampin' Up as a demonstrator, and it's the Christmas Rose Bundle. And it has not only beautiful stamps, but it has some really nice dies. And this is the die that I used from that stamp set. And this is another one that I'm not getting rid of. So I cut that out. It's just a really classy shape. So I have gone ahead, and what I have done is I've heat embossed. So bring in your Versamark. I'll just move some of this out of the way. And your sentiment, which, did I put it back? I must have. Nope, I didn't. Sorry. I have it already on my stamp block. I thought I did. So, wishing you every happiness. Let's just, what I'm going to do first is use and we now have them with the with the tray, but my little Stampin' Buddy, embossing buddy, and I'm going to do that. So what it does is just takes the static out of it so that the powder doesn't stick where you don't want it to. Because once you heat emboss it, then you've got little dots everywhere. So stamp that. Put that aside. And put it in my tray. I'm going to move my thing out. Sprinkle some white embossing powder on that. And then try to get underneath this without getting my fingers all over it and smudging it. There you go. Good, and then just tap off the excess. We'll move this aside. I'm going to use my tweezers to hold it. Bring in my heat tool and we're going to heat it up, and you'll notice it melting and just becoming a brighter white. And that's what you want. So little tip, if you are doing this, don't hold your heat tool in one spot too long, otherwise you're going to scorch it and you'll get brown in the back. I've done that a few times. All right, so there we have it all ready, and I'm going to take it now. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to adhere it to my background. And like I said, it just softens it up. And I'm going to pop it up, but I'm going to decide now which ribbon I want to use. And so we'll take a look at it and once it's done, but let me put my dimensionals on here. So the mini dimensionals, you could use those or the regular size, doesn't matter, but these go a long way. All right. Now, so again, I was thinking of this, and I don't know if the silver mesh would go, or whether it actually, I think I like it. And I've used the white on the other cards, so let's see if this will hold down with just the dimensionals and go through it. Yeah, and it holds it in place. So there we have that. I don't know if you can see it with the lighting. So now I have the other dove, or swallow. And do we want to use it? Or would it look too busy? A little black smudge on here. And you know, I think I'm going to put that on there. There we have that. So now for the inside and the card, and the envelope, I'm going to bring in my second piece of basic white. Actually, I've got one already lined up. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. Now, one of these retired sets that I picked up from years ago, it's called Special Celebrations, and it's a two stamp set. And I got this actually secondhand. I bought it from somebody, and the reason I did was, I mean, it has everything on here. So I could, you know, I could have stamped on the front of it for a special couple. But it has, you know, welcome baby, birthdays. There's, you know, for the bride, congratulations. This here is something old. So if it was just for the bride, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, wishing happiness to you. So, and I, you know, this is another keeper. It's not one that I'm going to get rid of. So, oh, thank you, Nancy. Thanks for joining me. So what I'm gonna stamp on the inside is side by side together stand, heart to heart, hand in hand. A very special dream comes true, beginning with the words I do. And so I have this set up, and another stamp from the Forever Fern stamp set, and I've got my card in there, and I've got everything laid out the way I want it. So I'm going to take my Blushing Bride. I'm stuck, see? And this is why I love the Stamparatus, right? Because you could do them both. And then you notice that here I need a little bit more. And I'm going to stamp it again. And it's right in the same spot. So there we go. We have our inside. I'll put my Stamparatus away. And I've got the inside for my card. So I'm just going to put a little of this on. Okay, so my inside is done, and now, and I've left some room so to write my name, sign my name, or, and there's, I'm just going to put this in here. Here we go. A few little dots. And I'm going to take one of the swallows, and I'm going to use that to stamp the front of my envelope. And we are done. So, Nancy, you get to see what our swap is going to look like. So I figure I've done enough of these cards. I did the wedding card, I did 31 of, and then I made a bunch of these ones for our upcoming swap. So I've already received some cards in the mail from other ladies, but mine are going out tomorrow. But there you have it. So there's our wedding card. And so, you know, if you want the swallows, grab them now before the 30th of June, and they make great doves and great wedding cards. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me, Nancy. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll be back next week at on Thursday at 4 o'clock. And yeah, so that's it for today. Have a wonderful Thursday evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.